Barbadians living abroad suggest constitutional change that would allow them to vote from wherever they are. Stronger links being forged between Barbados and 2 U.S. states expected to benefit the island. Tax filing tips from the Barbados Revenue Authority as the May 2nd deadline approaches. And in sports, it was finals day for the Junior Football Barbados Cup.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening to you. I'm Pearson Bowen. Barbadian citizens living overseas want to be able to vote in the country's elections without having to come home to do it. And they're suggesting constitutional changes should be made for this to be facilitated. That was one of the recommendations to the Constitutional Reform Commission, which, as part of its broad consultations, has been hearing from the Barbadian diaspora regarding the fashioning of a new constitution. In their efforts to hear from Barbadians abroad, some commissioners have so far visited 3 UK cities hosting sessions. However, similar plans for North America have been rescheduled to next month after bad weather interrupted the original schedule. Chair of the CRC's Stakeholder Committee, Adriel Brathwaite, who attended the meetings in the UK, says many wanted to see changes with regard to citizenship rights for their descendants, as well as amendments to voting laws.
One, believe it or not, was direct to vote. Our citizens who live in the UK are saying that they would like to participate in elections in Barbados. We've asked them to provide us with a paper in terms of how it can be done. There are some jurisdictions, Brazil comes to mind, I believe France is one, where citizens, wherever they are, can vote. But we said to them, you know, this is new territory for us, and we'll need lots of information to trash that out.
Mr. Brathwaite was speaking this afternoon during a press conference called by the Commission at Parliament. There it was also revealed that the Commission intends to press ahead to meet the 2023 September deadline of readying the draft constitution for Barbados. The update came from Chairman and retired Justice Christopher Blackman. He gave some insight into the CRC's work over the past 10 months.
Over the last 10 months, the Commission has received close to over 120 submissions, and we have been engaged with several stakeholders on a multitude of issues. We are now at a stage where, as of 4 o'clock today, it was the closing date for submissions, save for those persons who have reached out to us and asked for an extension to give them to us within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Pointing out a further 50 or 60 other submissions came from key stakeholder groups, along with several via the online platform. Deputy CRC Chairman Senator Gregory Nichols says the Commission will be moving ahead to compile all the contributions. Eventually, a dashboard of the submissions will be posted online to allow the general public to comment.
What we have done so far is to collate the submissions and summaries of them. We have engaged research assistants from the University of the West Indies on a voluntary basis who have come in to assist the Commission with collating information as to what are the submissions on. Every submission that has been received by this Commission will be considered. No submission will be edited or thrown out. We will look at the submission for what it is worth. We have compiled a PDF with the submissions, summaries, and thematic master sheet, and also PDF on the broad areas of specific themes, so that we can have an idea as to what the Barbadian people, both here and in the diaspora, have said.
In other news tonight, Barbados is expecting positive outcomes as it works to build business linkages with the 2 U.S. states of South Carolina and Georgia. Invest Barbados and the Consulate General of Barbados in Miami will be conducting business sessions in the two states in less than 2 weeks. Director of Investment and Marketing, Renata Mohammed, says the missions are follow-up visits after a delegation from Charleston, South Carolina came to Barbados late last year. That team was on island to explore trade, business and investment opportunities. Ms. Mohammed was a guest on TV8's Morning Report.
So it's a very exciting agenda, and those in Charleston, including the Carolinas Barbados Legacy Foundation, are very keen to host us. And if I may continue, from Charleston, we head with our mission to Atlanta, and we are really rekindling relationships with Atlanta. At the end of April, we will be hosting, we meaning Government of Barbados, specifically led by the Consulate General in Miami, will be hosting Barbados Comes to Atlanta. So what we're doing is to help kick off this outreach and to do so again from a business perspective.
Ms. Mohammed says efforts will be made by other partners, including the National Cultural Foundation, to boost cultural ties.
While we are in the business of attracting business, we also appreciate that there are cultural and historical linkages, especially with Charleston. And as such, we will be joined by some of our sister agencies, including the National Cultural Foundation, who will be looking to do some more research and fact-finding in terms of the cultural and historical linkages that we have between the city and ourselves. And they will be offering with us a taste of Barbados.
May the 2nd is the deadline for filing personal income tax this year. With that date being just about 3 weeks away, the Barbados Revenue Authority has embarked on its annual effort to ensure people fully understand the tax filing process. In this regard, Senior Manager Headquarter Services at the BRA, Carolyn Williams-Gale, has been talking about the recently opened free tax clinic service. Trevor Thorpe reports.
Ms. Williams-Gale says the initiative is to assist people with all they need to know to correctly file their taxes. The tax clinics are being held in Queen's Park in St. Michael, at the Brer Hall Resource Centre, Christchurch, the Valley St. George and Rice's in St. Philip.
What we've been seeing here, persons want assistance with filing in terms of how to navigate TAMIS, so we provide that assistance here because the system is a self-service system, so we just want to help persons to help themselves, essentially. That is what it is that we are doing here. We are asking persons when they come to bring their ID cards, to have their TIN, but if they don't have their TIN, they can come down here and get that. One of the challenges that we've seen is where persons forget their web user. So you have two distinct things. You have a web user account, which is the person's username to access the system, and then you have it, and that allows you to get a TIN, and the TIN stands for Taxpayer Identification Number.
She also had advice for taxpayers to assist in speeding up the refund process.
The other challenge that we have seen, and we've seen it thus far for this year as well, is persons not checking their third-party information. That is checking to see if the information for you has been uploaded in order for you to file. So a person just going ahead to file without checking that all of their information is there. And that third-party information would be information based on your salary, that your income information has gone in, any NIS information that is related to you has gone in, any pension information in relation to pension, or any charity information, charitable contributions that you may have made.
The Barbados Revenue Authority official added that while payment centres will be open on Saturdays, the department is moving its business online.
The whole thing is about changing behaviour. As we look to move things, we're trying to move a lot more things online. As I said, accessing things through the contact centre, and that's where persons can receive assistance. But we will make that consideration as the years come. The other thing that we have in place on Saturdays, we have opened our payment centre at Bridge Street Mall to allow persons who want to do in-person transactions for any taxes, any licensing transactions, etc., that they can do this at Bridge Street Mall, and that will be open. That centre will be open from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturday, all Saturdays during April.
The clinics will run until May 5th, but the cut-off date for the filing of personal income tax is May 2nd. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
All right, Trevor, thank you. Coming up, a program nurturing the entrepreneurial spirit of young men expanded. The creator of a program aimed at improving the entrepreneurial and gentlemanly qualities of young men wants even more of them to get involved. That program is the Mr. Executive Challenge, which has successfully expanded from 1 school to 5. Sharika Griffith reports.
5 young men, all from different schools, have advanced to the next round of the inaugural Mr. Executive 2023 Inter-School Challenge. Officially launched at the St. Leonard's Boys School by now retired teacher Winston Cumberbatch, it has now grown to include the Aline, Ellerslie, Graydon Sealy and Lodge schools. The first component saw 26 boys in 5th and 6th form being tasked with creating a business with just $20 as startup capital. 18-year-old Andre Lashley Coppin of the Aline School emerged victorious.
The business actually is humorine, which is Latin for moisture, and we decided on doing the all-natural sugar scrubs. However, in doing the production of that business, the issue we had was gathering some of the ingredients, and one of the main ones was the emulsifying wax, and sourcing that was a bit challenging, but however, we overcame it and used the alternative so that we would be ready for market day.
He was speaking to CBC News on the sidelines of the graduation ceremony for the 25 boys who completed the $20 challenge. The program has the backing of Minister of State with responsibility for crime prevention, Corey Lane.
It is time that our society, our boys and girls, men and women understand what it is to have wealth, to understand wealth creation, so that we are no longer, how you today, are surviving. A holding on, a hanging in the grace, by the grace of God, by a string. But that we, when asked, can understand through this mission transformation that each and every one of our people can say, I am no longer just surviving, but I am thriving.
In an effort to see the challenge grow into an annual nationwide event, founder Mr. Cumberbatch has announced a new partnership with the CBC.
I believe that with such support annually, we can arouse the interest of more youth and encourage them to get involved in the Mr. Executive Challenge at their schools, which certainly will go a long way in helping our young men develop into well-balanced and productive adults who can contribute positively to our society. I am happy to announce that coming soon, so keep your ears pricked, coming soon, the Caribbean Broadcasting Corporation will be airing a 5-part series of the 2022 Mr. Executive Challenge with a number of repeats to help increase the awareness and interest among our young males island-wide.
The upcoming challenges include identifying a team and creating a community project and a day at the office with their mentor. The competition culminates with a pageant, which will feature an on-stage job interview and a date night scenario at a staged restaurant, where they will be expected to display gentlemanly graces to their partner. Sharika Griffith, CBC News.
More signage coming on local beaches in an effort to better protect beachgoers and save lives. It's all part of a new partnership between the National Conservation Commission and the Barbados Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union Limited. The two entities have signed a memorandum of understanding with the credit union, providing $40,000 in support of the Barbados Lifeguard Service for new uniforms and training courses for local lifeguards. Secretary of the Board of Directors with the credit union, Hassani Evelyn, believes the training courses will help lifeguards improve their skills and knowledge in line with international standards to better serve and safeguard those using the beach. He also pointed out where the signage will go.
In addition, the campaign will facilitate the installation of core branded warning signs on the lifeguard towers at guarded beaches to help raise awareness about water safety. We believe that this is a crucial aspect of our partnership, as it will help to reinforce the message of safety to all beachgoers. These locations include Rockley, known as Aqua Beach Christchurch, Needham's Point, St. Michael, The Crane, St. Philip,  'Fort Stone, St. James, Bashaba, St. Joseph, and Brandon, St. Michael.
And more assistance is also being offered to local lifeguards in the form of financial literacy sessions. NCC General Manager Ryan Alls is thanking the Public Workers Cooperative Credit Union for the corporate support, saying it will improve the lives of those who work to save lives.
And to provide them with also with some financial aid and some financial coaching, so that they may be better able to help themselves and their families. We at NCC are always grateful for corporate cooperation with us, and this partnership will go a long way in helping our service and the NCC fulfill our mandate.
Sports Night is brought to you by Powerade. Feel the power. And the Sunny Water. Connect mind and body.
All right, if I told you Anne-Marie Burke played football, would you believe me? Anne-Marie, good evening to you.
Good evening, Pearson. Yes, I did for sure. That was one of my many sports. And the finals of the 2023 Barbados Cup was contested today at the Parkinson Resort Center in The Pine. Here's a look at the under 15 and under 17 games.
This is the Under-15 Boys final featuring Kickstart Rush in the red and the National Sports Council. And both teams came up playing strong defensive football as the first half ended goalless. So this is into the second with the Sports Council advancing the ball down the left. And O'Shea Myers takes control. He beats one defender and holds off a second before slotting it home. The first goal is on the cards in the 43rd minute. Sports Council in control. And literally 2 minutes later, goal number 2 will seal the deal. It's a throw-in, but the Kickstart player grabs the shirt of his opponent. No doubt that would merit a free kick. And it's given. Trey Young steps up to take it. And what a beauty of a shot. Curling into the back of the net. That's all the National Sports Council needed to take the Under-15 title. 2-0 winners over Kickstart Rush. Meanwhile, the Under-17 title was decided in the dying moments of the game, featuring Pinelands in the red and Paradise, where after this hard tackle that sends the Paradise player tumbling, the penalty was awarded. Diego Fenty steps up to take it, and it's saved. But the linesman calls for a player breaking the line, and it had to be retaken. So could Fenty change his fortunes? He sure did. And the fat lady sang as Paradise will use that single goal to take the title 1-0 from Pinelands.
To senior football now, Barbados remains second in the standings despite settling for a draw in their latest fixture of the BFA Premier League. Playing at the Wildy Turf last night, Ray Francis scored in the 73rd minute for Britain-Sill, but Carl Gibson brought Wharton level 2 minutes into extra time as the encounter ended in a 1-1 draw. Britain-Sill sit behind leaders Weymouth Wales, while Wharton are in 8th position. In the meantime, Ellerton defeated the BDF Sports Program 2-1, thanks to goals from Shaquan Clark via penalty in the 70th minute and Shaquille Bell in the 90th. Laquan Wiggins was the BDF's lone goal scorer in the 72nd minute. Ellerton are in 4th position with the BDF sitting in 7th. The local league continues on Sunday with a triple header with Silver Sands versus St Andrew Lions in the 4 p.m. game. Paradise will play in Perth at 6 p.m. while Weymouth Wales will play UW Blackbirds at 8 p.m. Well, Barbados' junior hockey boys and girls teams remain winless in the ongoing Pan American Junior Hockey Championships being played at the Wildy AstroTurf. Yesterday evening, the boys went down 3-0 to the USA to remain bottom of Pool B with no points. Meanwhile, the girls' team is also bottom of their pool as this evening they were demolished by Canada 11-0. We will have those highlights of that game tomorrow. In the other women's matches today, the USA defeated Uruguay 4-1 and Chile were 8-0 winners over Guyana. We take a commercial break, and when I return, I have some cricket news. Actually, we won't go to break. We go to cricket now, where West Indies wicketkeeper batsman Joshua De Silva and Alec Anthony's, the top run scorer in the recently concluded West Indies Championship, have been appointed captains for Team Headley and Team Weeks respectively for the upcoming Headley Weeks Tri-Series. The two teams have been drawn from the leading performers in the 2023 West Indies Championship and those deemed to be on the fringe of the Test team. The series aims to provide further first-class opportunities to the best performers from the West Indies Championship in a competitive and intense setting, as well as opportunities for players who the selectors believe would benefit from playing red ball cricket as the West Indies prepare for the upcoming A-team tour of Bangladesh and the two-test series against India at home. Team Headley and Team Weeks will play each other and against the West Indies Academy in the three-match series running from April 19th to May 6th at the Coolidge Ground in Antigua. All three matches have been awarded first-class status. The West Indies Academy was unveiled last year and played in the CG United Super 50 tournament last November. Team Weeks will feature Anthony, who was the leading batter in the regional championship with 647 runs that included 2 centuries. Also on that squad is left-arm spinner Versami Pramal, the second highest wicket taker with 28 wickets, as well as Jamar Hamilton, who was a joint leading wicket-keeper with 19 dismissals. Team Headley will feature the experienced left-hander Darren Bravo, who was the second highest run scorer in the championship with 446 runs, including 2 centuries. Fast bowler Akeem Jordan, who was third highest wicket taker with 22 wickets in 4 matches, as well as Tevin Walcott, who was a joint leading keeper with 19 dismissals. According to Cricket West Indies, Shea Hope was selected but was given permission to represent Yorkshire in the English County Championship, while Rakeem Cornwall and Shane Dowrich made themselves unavailable for selection. The first match will be from April 19th to 22nd between Team Headley and the West Indies Academy.
In business tonight, the International Monetary Fund expects Barbados and others in the region will benefit given recent growth projections for the U.S. economy. Acting Director with the IMF Western Hemisphere Department, Nigel Chalk, during an Economic Outlook press conference, says Americans are shifting their spending from goods to services and travel.
So even though the whole economy is slowing, that shift from good to services is actually good for the Caribbean. It's good for tourism-dependent economies because Americans are traveling more, they're investing more in leisure activities and so forth. And so that's proven, I think we've seen across the region, the Caribbean, that's proven quite a big boost to the economies. We don't see a recession, so we feel that that potential flow of tourism is going to be maintained. But I think it would be prudent for the countries in the region to think about what would they do if it were to slow, if the U.S. were to slow down, if interest rates in the U.S. had to go higher in order to bring down inflation. Not as a baseline scenario, but more as contingency planning in case the U.S. were to slow down. And the same is true for Europe as well.
Mr. Chalk revealed the Western Hemisphere has proven to be very resilient in the face of multiple shocks over the last years. Growth in the region is expected to slow to 1.6% this year after a remarkable 4% in 2022.
This slowdown is not surprising, given that the region's main trading partners are also slowing. The favourable terms of trade that we saw in the aftermath of COVID have lessened somewhat, and global financial conditions are less friendly than they were a year ago. The bad news, though, is that inflation remains high across the region. We know this high inflation disproportionately hurts lower-income households, particularly as it has been concentrated in large increases in food prices and because wages have been unable to keep up with these higher prices. After peaking at around 10% in mid-2022 for the average of the region, headline inflation in the largest Latin American economies has now decelerated to around 7% in March. However, progress in bringing down core inflation appears to have stalled.
The Central Bank of Barbados is hoping to get the necessary legislation in place to go after businesses which fail to complete its balance of payments survey. That's according to Bank Secretary Elson Gaskin. The balance of payments is a record of all international transactions made between Barbadian residents and the rest of the world in a given year. The new Central Bank of Barbados Act, passed in 2020, made it mandatory for businesses to submit the necessary information. But Mr. Gaskin has announced the bank's intention to try to make it easier to enforce the sanctions.
The penalty for non-compliant is a fine of $10,000, and it's $10,000 per offense, so it's not like it's a global sum or whatever that will cover you all the time. It's $10,000 on summary conviction for each non-response. But we're going to go a bit further maybe before the end of the year, and try to get legislation through Parliament, which will give us the power to impose those penalties rather than to take the matter through the court system and the time that would be associated with such.
Well, the survey forms will be sent out on April the 17th, and the closing date for submission is June the 9th. Central Bank Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge suggests it's a business corporate duty to provide the information.
We cannot make proper economic analysis of data. And one of the areas where we don't have a lot of information because the way it happened is on the external sector. Ain't that anybody want to come and impose any taxes or any restrictions on the business. It is you, the business owner, doing your part to help us move our economic program forward. Without the data, we are shooting in the dark. We are not making efficient decisions to even help those same businesses. We want to be able to have sufficient and more than enough reserve to project flows and where we're going. Like going know that if I have an idea of what your businesses are doing.
That's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen for the crew. To all of you, have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Good night.
Thanks for visiting us. Now, if you want to see more stories like this one, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And you can always go to cbc.bb for the latest news and current affairs.